Reckoning Life Pathway, a program where people nurture, and matured their life journey. President Obama came from Kenya, from a very remote village, and he became the president of the great country, America. You can come from a very remote village, but in future you work hard and navigate your life journey, and you become a great person. With me today is a very important personality from the University of Buea, the head of department, from the head of department of the Department of Theatre Arts, Faculty of Education in the University of Buea, Faculty of Arts, Dr. Taku. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you. It's my pleasure, Dr. Musi.
Thank you very much, sir. You are welcome to this great program where people narrate their life's journey, where people narrate their life milestone from childhood to adulthood, sir. So who is Dr. Taku?
Yeah, Dr. Taku is a humble lecturer and currently head of Department of Performing and Visual Arts at the Faculty of Arts of the University of Buea, the place to be.
Thank you, sir. Can you, in few words, narrate to us your early childhood life stories?
Yeah, I was born in a humble, when I say humble, I have humble beginnings. My father was a teacher with the Baptist mission, called it the Cameroon Baptist Mission Convention at the time. And we moved to Kumba in 1975 when he got admitted into the government teachers training college. I mean, as a young boy of 3, 4, I mean, it was a pleasurable moment, you know, driving from Mutengene to Kumba. So I went to Kumba as a kid, and at the age of 5, I was taken to the government practicing school, Kumba. And for the first time, I remember the day we went to government practicing school. I stood in front of the headmaster's office, and I could see Mount Fako clearly. So that was the first image that caught my mind. The mountain was bright that day.
Were you taught the different types of mountains in school that you knew that was a mountain by then at that young age?
I just saw this bright, you know, this bright hill, and I was asking myself, what's this, you know? And my father told me that's Mount Fako.
And what has been the motivation of that mountain you saw at your childhood period?
When I saw that mountain, I told my dad that I must get to the summit of that mountain. All what I would do in life.
And you have gotten to that summit through your life journey and your academic achievement. Dr. Taku, I want you to narrate to us your background life.
Yeah, I began there. I had my first school leaving certificate and common entrance.
In terms of parenthood?
Yeah, parenthood. My father was a teacher and headmaster of that particular government practicing school. He became headmaster. And my mother has been a very humble housewife till date. I grew up, you know, making sure that I studied hard. My father never forced me to study. I never saw him in the evening, you know, telling me to do my assignments. I knew I had to do my assignments, and I had one motivation. That if there
was that a positive parental discipline?
Very positive.
Not directing you? Not scaffolding you?
No, very positive, because he had already laid the foundation of, because I always saw him writing, always saw him marking scripts, always saw him on the table preparing lesson notes. And so that was a motivation. I knew that life is study.
Was your father a model to you by then?
Yeah, he remains my mentor, one of my mentors. A role model. I remember when we used to come late to school and he was on call, on duty, he would beat us without, any discrimination. And we were scared. He would never make sure that we were in school before he got there.
So your father was an administrator par excellence.
He was a mirror.
Looking at your childhood experiences, can you explain to us some of your narrative in terms of neighborhood challenges, knowing fully that you grew up in Kumba, Cape Town, a very difficult environment?
Yes, Kumba was very difficult and remains difficult. We have this environment, this neighborhood where many of the young people were not too excited about, getting to higher heights. And so I decided to pave a path alone. I remember when I was in Form 2, I saw this notice, holiday makers needed to work in a rural training center, Kumba, they call it RTC at the time. It was funded by Bread for Life, Switzerland. And I took an application in Form 2 to the place, and I was recruited to do holiday job. And I began doing those holiday jobs, did the holiday jobs during the first term holiday, the 2 weeks break, first term Christmas break, and the 3 months long holiday. And I did that from Form 2 to up 6 when I had to go to university. So I had no holidays.
So what were some of the life skills potential that you acquired from there that has helped shape your life?
Yes, I remember I learned how to keep rabbits. I learned how to keep pigs, poultry. We had a poultry farm when I was in Form 2.
Wow.
I learned how to keep rare goods.
Wow.
So I was trained as what we call a wildlife officer. I used to remember one of our mentors or teachers, Part1. Part1 is still alive in Kumba. He used to call me my wildlife officer. And when I went to the University of Yaoundé and I came back during one of the breaks, he asked me, "What are you studying?"
We wish our university life.
Yeah, I'm just referring to that story.
Exactly.
When I told him I was studying English language and literature, he was angry. He said, "No, I know you as a wildlife officer. You should be in forestry, fishery, agriculture."
Looking at your lifeway pathway, what were some of the indices that made you different from your friends in Kumba?
Yes, I remember as in class 5 primary school, my father introduced me to one, call him Mola Fako. He taught me how to draw. And I remember that all the students who came, the teacher trainers, who came to GPS at the time, government practitioners school, were sent to me to do their charts. And
wow. That's excellent.
And their cardboards, call it the didactic material.
Didactic material.
I was the one who drew their charts.
Wow.
And a chart was 500 francs.
How did you gain that skill?
I was taught by one Mola Fako. He may so rest in peace. We used to call him, we nicknamed him Mola Fako. He was a clerk in the High Court Kumba.
And do you know that the drawing skills have helped you to shape your parenthood and professional life?
I remember when we had our new president, President Paul Buea at the time.
Yes.
We know the name Buea. We were now in Kumba. We live with Nigerians. Say Buea.
Exactly.
The new president Buea. That was the one of the first portraits I drew.
You drew.
And I remember I used to. You could sit. I could sketch you.
You could picturize me and sketch.
Yes. So I had those skills back in primary school, and I started making money in class 5 primary school. All the teacher trainers came to me, and a chart was 500 francs, and they paid.
How did you develop such a big cognitive map?
Yeah, as I said, my father, used to buy me pencils, buy me boards, drawing boards, and I started learning those skills as a child.
Okay, so you know that we are living in difficult and dreadful moments in our country. So I want you to look at your camera and advise Cameroonian parents whom children are not going to school on how they can use their hands to make hay while the sun shines.
Yeah, I want to say that I am a teacher today. I'm a lecturer today. Because my father wanted me to be a civil servant. I encourage individual creativity.
Wow.
That's what made me to be what I am. I remember in Form 3, I had 2 rabbits, which I read. I had 2 rabbits. Wow. And these rabbits were sold for 15,000 francs. You know, a child selling his rabbits for 15,000 francs in Arutisi Kumba. You know, I started earning money as a child. You know, while in Arutisi, I used to, at the end of 3 months holiday, I'll make at least 90,000 francs. And I'll pay my school fees, buy my books. You know, at a tender age, I started paying my school fees. In spite of the fact that my father was a civil servant, you know, I never looked at his money. So I went, you know, I took upon myself to learn some of these skills.
At a tender age, Dr. Taku started paying his school fees. Yes. I want to find out, sir, what built in you this agentic mind? What built in you this resilient mind in your childhood that you were able to take action, put effort to achieve your life goals?
Yes, I realized that when you depend so much on your parents, you don't achieve your dreams. It comes to a point when we have to support our parents. And I saw that, you know, each time I went closer to my father, he would say, I don't have money. Do you think I means money? You know, when he tells me, do you think I means money? I was not very happy.
Wow.
So I had to look for alternatives, you know, rearing. I used to rear even this, what we call rat moles. You know, I had my cage for my rabbits, you know, I had my wildlife, my goats, my pigs. And I was so independent to a point that when I even came to the University of Buea, I had my, you know, my chicken, you know, my goats around, you know, in Moliko, and it gave me a lot of wealth, you know, at the
Looking
time.
at your child rearing practices, it was very positive, and you are a person to reckon with, Dr. Taku. I want to ask you, sir, we are living in a different paradigm shift, a different contemporary time today. And you see most of our children out there selling Congo meat, hawking on the street. And the Western world will call it child labor. And with us psychologists, I will call that child work. And you said at Form 2, you were already paying your school fees. And that's why you have worked hard, Dr. Taku, to become the head of department for visual and performing arts today. Are you saying that, or are you encouraging our children doing child work on the street?
Yes, you will call that child labor. I want to tell you a story. When I was in class 6 primary school, there was a program run by RUTC Kumba, Rural Training Center. They needed trainees. And I was the youngest trainee.
Wow.
We were kept there for close to 3 months. I was the youngest trainee. I was in primary school class 6. You know, today it will be considered as child labor. But I was trained life skills, which are still helping me today. I mean, we were lodged in their dormitory. And most of the people who came, farmers from different villages, Muyenge, Muyoka, I was the youngest in class 6. And I think that gave me an independent spirit.
Wow.
It gave me a push to look at life differently. And I want to say that the head of that particular corporation was, it's a Switzerland, was from Switzerland.
Wow.
And he kept watching some of us who were so hardworking.
Exactly.
And when the program was closed in 1993, we felt stranded. And he called us from Switzerland and said, those of you who have been very hardworking will benefit from a scholarship.
Wow.
So in the University of Buea, I had a scholarship for 3 years from Switzerland. I was given an allowance of 70,000 francs per month for my 3 years stay in the University of Buea.
So you did not pay school fees in the University of Buea?
I'm saying that I had a scholarship from Switzerland for 3 years.
That's great.
Thanks to my input in the agricultural center.
Okay, looking at your childhood, because we're still narrating and reckoning your childhood stories. I want to say that you bear life skills and you were rearing animals. I want to ask you, children who are doing child work today and the Western world called child labor, in our own difficult context, I call it as a psychologist child work. You as a doctor, as a head of department in a higher institution in the University of Buea, UB2B, can you allow your own children to do hawking?
Yeah, hawking may be a bit challenging in this present context of insecurity, crime, and abuse. There are young people who go out there to hawk and they're abused. Some of them are raped. Some of them are kidnapped. I don't think it can be so. I can encourage parents today to send their child out to hawk. I will not send my child to hawk, but my daughter or my daughters have been taught to make cakes at home.
Exactly.
Granules. So they sit at home, they do cakes.
They are productive at home.
Yes, they do cakes, they do gâteaux.
Are you saying that all these children who are out there in the market, they are hawking, they are contributing to family welfare and supporting their parents so that they can pay their school fees? Are you saying that we should not encourage such practices, looking into cognizance that you did some of these things, you build life skills, you are very entrepreneurial, and it's helping you today as a
Yes,
doctor?
I'm saying that we can encourage them to do things at home, and then the elderly persons take them out and supply to shops. Yeah, you can teach a child how to do cakes.
Okay.
And then you, the parents, liaise with some of these shops, some of these restaurants, and supply them.
That's good, Dr. Taku. I want you to narrate your primary school life from class 1 to class 7.
Yeah, my primary school life, as I earlier said, I began in government practicing school group. No, it was government practicing school at the time from 1978. And by 1980, it was transformed it was divided into groups. So we had group 1, group 2, group 3, and group 4. I was sent to group 3, and my father was the headmaster of that particular group 3. And as I said, he was my teacher, he was my headmaster, and he would not tolerate me coming to school late.
Wow.
And I remember in 1985, when I had my common entrance and first school, it was a great day. I remember the day I was going to write the common entrance. He called me, he was eating some chicken. He removed a leg of that chicken and gave me to eat and blessed me and wished me success. I won't forget that day when I was going to write my common entrance, and he gave me a chicken leg, and told me, "Go well, my son." And I came out with at least A.
Wow.
And he wanted me to go to Baptist High School at the time.
Okay, looking at your primary school life, sir, it was very interesting. Who were some of your best friends? And looking at your primary school friends, where are they today, your best friends? Have they reached the extent to which you have reached?
Yeah, I want to say that I had one friend. We grew together from primary school, nursery, primary, and university.
What's his name?
Ngole Metuge Terence. He is a prolific writer today.
Like you too.
Yes, he
Wow.
is a poet par excellence.
Wow.
He's an actor, and a very creative person.
That means you people have the same dreams.
Yes, and he, as I said, we all came to the University of Buea first batch, 93, and we graduated on the same day. And in most of our theater activities, he was my best actor. I never did any play without, him taking the lead role.
That means I want to ask you, did you have negative peer pressure that influenced you negatively when you were growing up?
No, we were just two of us. As I had just a friend.
Negative friends?
No, I never had negative friends.
No negative influence?
No negative.
The neighborhood?
No, they used to, our friends, our neighbors used to say two of us are bookish.
Yes.
You are too
Bookman,
bookish. Yeah, we're
as they
book.
call.
Yes. So I remember when we graduated from UB, we took our parties to Kumba. It was the whole Katie, the whole area neighborhood. They came around. They said they were not surprised. These two big people are finally graduated from UB.
So advise young people out, and look at the camera and advise young people have vision.
Yes, I want to say that this issue of friends has been doomed. It's like I don't want to call it bad. It's good to have friends, but when you are growing up, when you are studying, when you have a vision, avoid many friends. Have one friend who is positive, who has the same thought patterns like you, who reasons like you, and who is ready to encourage you and not to take you into crime or other foreign activities. As I said, I'm telling them to avoid many friends. Get a friend. Work with that friend like a brother or a sister. And you go places. Avoid many friends. Avoid bad company. Because when you have many friends, you must have, in that lot, you have those who are positive, those who are negative, those who are sinister. So at the end of the day, look for a friend who shares your vision, who is out to go places, who is out to get to the mountain.
Okay, state about 5 indicators that can lead to goal attainment. From your background experiences.
From my background experience, I want to say that when you get to secondary school, you must know where you are going to. As a secondary school child, I said I will teach in the university.
Wow, that's the first thing.
You must have a goal. You must have a vision, a dream.
Wow.
What you want to become in future.
Wow.
2, you must align this vision with a plan of action.
Exactly.
You make sure that, okay, if it's 5 years in the secondary school, you know that, okay, 5 years, don't exceed 5 years. If it's 2 years high school, so you must know that to get there, you must go through these stages. And to go through these stages, you must study hard. So the third, you must study hard. You don't need your parents, you don't need uncles and aunts to run behind you to study. And you have to know that failure should not be part of your vocabulary. So you don't need your parents to run behind you with a whip to study.
Wow.
That is determination.
Exactly.
And on the 4th point, you have to make sure that you are disciplined.
Wow.
Discipline, manage the resources you have diligently. And I used to, you go out, you're going to buy some, remember when we were growing up in high school, secondary school, we only had an opportunity to have a drink during a marriage, a birthday party. We're waiting for such occasions.
Exactly.
To share a drink, to have something nice.
That ambience at that time.
Yes, but today, you find young people wanting to drink top every day. Some want to drink beer every day.
Must you give a child everything the child wants?
Some think that it is love. So much love to give them top every day, to give them a drink every day, to give them snacks every day. I know parents who will not send their children to school. No, I don't do that. You give children what they need for their growth.
Thank you very much, Dr. Taku, Head of Department of Visual Arts, Faculty of Arts, University of Buea. Producer, may you give us a jingle break? When we come back, we'll continue.